And we're ready to roll. Welcome everyone to episode 3 of this webcast, Falls to Rise. Can't believe it's been 3 weeks already. It's been a blast so far. This week's episode is one that I've been looking forward to for a while. We have a very interesting guest, someone that I've known literally since high school. I knew this guy when he was a young 14-year-old kid getting into all kinds of trouble. And to see where he is now, I couldn't be prouder. My guest today is Marquise Simmons. He's a regional vice president and broker with Primerica Financial Services and PFS Investments. And he's the host of the upcoming web show, Wealth Talk. So after this show, you're going to have a way to reach out to him, and you're going to have another show to watch now. So add it to your docket. Marquise, welcome.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it, man. I'm happy to be here with you guys, man. Love the energy, man. It's blessings. I'm proud of you, man. Keep it up, brother. I can't wait for us to get into it, man. I just want to help in any way I can, man. I'm just happy to be here, man. Let's do it.
Got it. Now, before we get into where you are now, let's kind of get into your background. Where are you from originally?
Irvington, New Jersey, man. Born and raised, man. Irvington, New Jersey.
Irvington.
Ellis Avenue, to be exact.
Right around the corner from me.
Yeah, man. Irvington's
now, growing up, were you into finance?
No. I mean, I was always into making money. It's funny how that worked. I was always into making money, but I didn't understand how to balance my money, budget, and things of that nature. And I always see my parents kind of struggle in that area as well. So as I grew up and I was making money and blowing money, I used to bag groceries at Supremo, for example, and I would make $80 a day, and I would blow right through it, and I didn't understand that. And lo and behold, I had to put together a budget worksheet, which my father kind of helped me out with, and then that really kind of piqued my interest into getting better, understanding how to make money, right? But then understanding how to keep the money that you're making. That was really the key. I was like, okay, so making money in America is not the problem. It's keeping the money that's really the problem, right? So that's what I kind of came up with as a youngster, around like 13 years old.
Mm-hmm. So how exactly did you get into finance?
Funny. So like I was telling you, we talked briefly before this. I was unemployed for a whole year prior to coming into James again. Once again, it's funny how we just keep bumping at each other. And then started working at New Jersey Trans. I was unemployed for a whole year. So I was very open to opportunity. And a high school buddy, he said, hey, listen, this guy, he's looking for people right now. He wanted to, he's growing his organization. You got to get licensed in that area and things of that nature. It's like, you know what? I've been broke for a while now. I can't put anything off. So you know what? I just got hired at New Jersey Transit, believe it or not. And I went to this meeting, I believe it was Tuesday night, and I almost fell asleep. And he took me there. I seen the opportunity, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. I had nothing crazy. Lo and behold, crazy how this worked. I had no intentions of leaving transit, right? Like, I had no intentions. I was like, all right, transit's cool, I bought it up, but then after a few meetings, I said, you know what? I could take this thing and do something with it. And then March 3rd, 2014, they gave me an option. They was at New Jersey Transit. They was kind of upset that I didn't want to work on Saturdays. So they was like, listen, you got to work Saturdays or you're going to continue building your business. And I had to make that decision, and that was March 3rd, 2014, never looked back.
That's a decision that a lot of us are having a hard time making. A lot of people have a hard time deciding between their dreams and their jobs.
Yeah.
We get these jobs and we get so comfortable that we're afraid to step outside of it.
Yeah.
I've always had a theory. Once your job is difficult and you don't like going there anymore, it's time to start looking for your passions.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
As long as you're pursuing your passion, as long as you're willing to put the work in for your passion, you'll make money. It may not come immediately, but you'll definitely make that money.
Absolutely. See, making money, think about this. Making money isn't really the challenge. It's how we view that making money, how we view that obstacle when a lot of people see it as an obstacle. And I always say America is the only place where we can be poor and fat at the same time. Right? See, well, in America, you can be poor and they'll give you food stamps and all these extra essentials and things like that. In the third world country, if you're poor, you're going to die on the street of famine, right? Sure. So what happens is we got to first and foremost understand why a lot of people come to this country. And I understand where I'm getting some political stuff real quick, and we really don't talk about politics like that, but let's talk about it, right? So a lot of people come from other countries and they make money hand over fist, right? We, as African Americans, Black people, we built the country. Yet we have all this wealth and things like that. We have all this genius level intellect. And I find that a lot of our people struggle financially. And the reason for that is because of our perspective of making money, building finance, and building wealth is skewed, and it's really not even talked about in our households a lot, because we're taught to survive most of the time, right? As long as there's a roof over our head and food on our table, that's it. And we got to step out of that mindset. We got to understand that. What are we building for the next generation, right? What are we going to do for our children? What are we going to do for our spouses? Are we going to build businesses? Are we going to understand investing? Are we going to understand how insurance works? So I took it personally, right? I was like, you know what? If I can be the first person to spearhead this in Irvington, right, and be an example of someone that can do something, make something of their lives in this area, right, in the financial service area, because let's be real, most financial advisors aren't our pigmentation, right? So, so if I can, do that and then come back and teach others, that's the biggest part. Coming back, teaching people the exact same thing that I've learned and helping these people capitalize, that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
I know that with a lot of us, due to a lot of our spending habits growing up, we're usually in debt by the time that we're 18 or 19 years old.
Absolutely.
That's the majority of us. What do you think is the cause of that?
Oh, habitual habits, right? So, like, kind of piggybacking off what we were just talking about. Like 18, we're taught go to school, get good grades, and get a good what? Get a good job. Mm-hmm. What's waiting for us at the college, university as soon as we sign up? Credit card tables, right? So as soon as we get there, hey, listen, come get this credit card, 15% interest, 20% interest, right? And I remember as a child myself, taking this credit card thinking it was free money. Not understanding, because my parents didn't understand, right? So going back to that, I'm gonna jump off this real quick.
Sure.
Finances, okay, is rarely taught in school. And that's a big, big problem, right? They teach us theoretical things, but they don't teach us practical things for the most part, right? Now I'm gonna go back. So when we walk into college, so now we get this credit card. And now piggybacking on what I just said, now you got a credit card and you don't have any knowledge, you don't have any wherewithal how to use this thing, for the most part. And now you're just swiping and you're going and blowing. Nobody's educating you on how to do this stuff. And now you're putting yourself in debt and you don't know how to get out of it, And like what I said of the people, like I don't have clients, I have friends. We know exactly when we got in debt. We don't have a clue when we're going to get out of it, right? So the name of the game is to understand what does debt represent and what is credit and what do these things represent? And once you understand what's going on with these things, like, all right, I'm in debt. How can I get out of this? Where do I go? The first thing is, where do I go? Right? What do I do? I'm in debt. I know how I got here now because habitually, I had bad spending habits, right? My parents didn't teach me about finance, and it's not nothing, no knock to them, but we got to stop that. At some point, we got to say, the buck stops here. I need to learn about this, okay? The libraries are free. I mean, we have all the information. We're in the age of information right now, right? So we have resources upon resources. So if you need to find out how to get out of debt, the resources are available to you. And we got to go out there and seek out those resources, right? So we can make sure we're debt-free, financially independent, and properly protected. And the concept of debt, I mean, it comes from, just to answer your question, it comes from habitually terrible spending habits. And until someone takes that understanding and takes it personally, saying, okay, I got here, not my mom, not the state of New Jersey or New York, where we're from, not the school system, not the man, I'm here. Okay, now how can I pull myself up? That's the beginning of getting out of it. First understanding, okay, I'm going to take responsibility for being in this debt, then start seeking out the resources to get out of it.
Okay, that's good. That's actually good. That's something that a lot of people have trouble with. A lot of people are in denial about their debt. I know that me personally, I used to hate to look at my bank account, especially when I knew that there wasn't a lot of money in there.
We all been there.
You sit there, you go to the ATM, and you always hit no receipt. Because you don't need that kind of negativity in your life.
We've been there.
I think that's been a lot of us. And then we spend money, and it also goes to our state of mind at certain points. There are certain people that are unhappy, so they spend their way to happiness, so they think. So they're depressed, they're stressed out, so their thought process is, well, let me buy this. Let me buy these new Jordans so that I can look fly, I can look fresh, so that I can feel better about myself. But those Jordans depreciate in value, so now you're right back in the same financial situation that you were in before. There was actually something that you posted on your Facebook page about a year or two ago, and you're actually the reason that I got into buying stock. You posted something about LeBron James sneakers. You said that you can buy LeBron James sneakers and spend $250, or you can buy 2 shares of Nike stock for $180, and you have to figure out which one is going to have more value a year from now. And I think that we as a people need to start looking more into that, because if we don't have capital, at the end of the day, we don't have power. There's no power without capital. So if you don't have capital, you're literally begging those that you see as being in power to do something for you. So you're hoping, okay, well, these laws are going to change, but if you don't have any capital, you're hoping that the laws change.
Absolutely.
So we really need to look into building capital.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on that. And it's funny that you say that, because the whole concept of investing, building wealth, it's like far-fetched, right? Like
Sure.
you said, we'll turn a blind eye to it. We don't think, because it's never talked about in our household, that we can do it. So we don't even talk about it, right? So I give out what I call a free game. You'll see me hashtagging and stuff like that, because it's literally just resources, it's information, right? And we'll just give it out. You can get a share of Nike for the low right now. That's how we talk, right? You can get these things at pennies on the dollar. So when the stock market crashes, right, and when everybody panics, oh, the stock market is down, these things are, oh, it's inadequate, I don't know what to do, that's when you put more money in. You don't take money out. See, the wealthy people make money during crisis, right? This is the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It's true. That saying is cliche, but it's true. So when, like right now, we have the pandemic, right? We have COVID-19, we have all of these things. The people that are going to get wealthy during these times are the people that understand how these things work. Okay, there's an election year, there's the pandemics, we have all these things going on. I'm going to dump money into these companies that's going to be here for the future. Because now these companies tanked, now you're going to get these companies for the low, quote unquote, right? So now instead of you putting $100 in a Nike, and the Nike, a share of Nike is $100, Nike maybe 75, maybe 50. So now you got 2 shares for the price of 1, right? And then when that thing balloons back up, now your assets appreciate. Okay, so, and what we do, we believe in investing in mutual funds for the people that we sit down with, because we got to understand that you take your serious dollars. Now, stocks are great. You got to do that too. Your serious dollars are where you're going to build wealth. Now, and the difference between stock and mutual funds are as follows, right? A stock is like an elevator with 1 cable. Okay, so if that cable snaps, what happens to your elevator?
Collapses.
Exactly. A mutual fund is that same elevator with 200 to 500 different cables. So when you invest $100, $5 may go into Nike, $2 will go into Samsung, $4 will go into IBM. It's diversified. So now if one company takes a hit, your elevator is still intact. So it's calculated risk. However, through dollar cost averaging, I'm talking a bunch of investment jargon right now, but through dollar cost averaging every month, because it's systematic, so let's say you're putting in $100 a month every 15. You're buying different portions and different shares, because the stock market goes like that, right? But long term, based on all of these stocks' performance, because your investment should always be a long-term game plan first. That should be priority, okay? Because nobody on this call should be wanting to work 15 to 20 years from now. Retirement has never been an age. It's always been the amount of money we have saved. The misconception is, oh, retirement is 45, 65, whatever the case may be. If you don't have any money at that age, you're just unemployed and broke. You're not retired. Okay, because you got to live, and we're living longer even with the worst healthcare. So, with that being said, we have to understand how mutual funds work. And you can invest in a mutual fund today for $25, $50 a month. The problem is we ignore it because we think the perspective is I got to put a lot of money in, right?
So how do people get into mutual funds?
Oh, that's easy, man. So well, now you guys have me. I'm gonna always throw me out there first. But what you can do is you can go to Legg Mason, AXA, AIG. Now your banks, this is the tricky part. So banks will want you to invest, first off, 5 figures, right? So 10 grand initially. And this is where I love what I do. It's like, we're like the Robin Hood, right? So banks want you to invest 10 grand initially and then 25 a month, right? The problem with that is most people don't have 5 figures just to put away. So they never really start those accounts. That's why when you go into Bank of America, TD Bank, or wherever, we rarely see the bankers in the back. Right? Because in our perspective, what do we sit with those guys for? We're fitting in a different tax bracket. And they don't reach out to us because they understand what's in our tax bracket. They understand what's going into our account. Right? The banks know what's coming in and out of our accounts. So you only get a call from the bankers at Bank of America and things like that when you hit the lottery, when you got a lawsuit, things like that. Because now they want to invest your money. Where were you when I only had $25? Where were you when I had $50, right? So what we're able to do is we're able to invest in mutual funds with our partnering companies. So I have partnered with companies like Legg Mason, AXA, AIG, Invesco, Lincoln Financial. I have a contract with these guys, being that we're licensed. We're able to set up these mutual funds through these companies, right? So like that's one way to do it. And then you can always research other brokers and things like that, but that's the way you need to do it. So research it. You can go to investopedia.com. I mean, a lot of you guys probably are familiar with Investopedia.
What's that website again? I'm going to give everybody a chance to write that.
Investopedia. Investopedia.
Okay.
Okay. So you go to Investopedia, no problem. And what you'll do is you'll type in all this information that you want, and then it can point you in different places where you can get this set up these services, right? And yeah, that's where you want it. That's where you want to invest. You want to invest in mutual funds first. Now, stocks are great. You want to do that too. Once your serious dollars are in place. So once your serious dollars, which we call the financial independence number, right? Your financial independence number is the amount of money that you're going to need to live comfortably throughout retirement for the rest of your life. So, for example, JB, at what age besides tomorrow would you want to retire?
About 50.
About 50. So now, JB, how much of the money that you make right now will you need when you're ready for retirement? 80%, 50%, 100%?
At this point, probably about 80%.
Probably about 80%.
Yeah.
And you're about 34, 35 years old,
Yeah,
right?
34, yeah.
So 34 years old, so that's a whole, 15 years from now?
Yeah.
Right? And you need 80% of your income. This is the challenge, right? This is why we're having this conversation. I love it. So 15 years from now, you want to retire. You want to retire for 80%. Now, let's say, give or take, you're making 80 to 100 grand a year. Mm-hmm. By the time you turn 50, what went up in price?
Everything.
Everything. The cost of living goes up 3% a year. So you think you need 80%, but you need 140, 150% of your income because cost of living is going up 3% a year. The dollar menu will be the $10 menu by the time you turn 50. Mm-hmm. Right? So even if you want to eat junk, it's going to be expensive. And another problem is, so now you need 100% of your income at 50. What about 51? Mm-hmm. What about 52? Mm-hmm. Life expectancy is 86 for men. Well, 83 for men, 86 for women. So you need to live for decades off of this 80% that you're making currently. And the only way to do that is to invest in. So if our investments aren't beating the cost of living annually, we're going to have a problem by the time we're ready for retirement. And this is why I take pride in this, because it's not that people want to be in these scenarios. The challenge is people just really logically, literally just don't understand. They don't know what's coming. So if we have a 401k at our job, we think we're good. Oh, I got a 401k. Oh, yeah, they're matching 2-3%. I'm good. I'm set. And then, lo and behold, you turn 50, you got $250,000 saved. Now, you think you're good. But now you're spending $5,000 a month or $8,000 a month because the cost of living went up. Right? So now, how long is that? Home more. Right, and you're home more. You have more time to spend the money that you never had at one time. So most people are going to spend, and God forbid you have any health challenges. Right? That's why you see a lot of people still working past the retirement age. It's not because they want to, because they have to. Nobody educated them early enough to how to build wealth incrementally, right? How to build wealth, and this is the focus, right? I'm going to build wealth for the future, and I'm going to protect myself for today, right? And that's why we got to invest in mutual funds, because mutual funds historically have always had a great return, right? So it's beating the S&P, it's beating, like, no matter what, like on Investopedia, you guys can track this. You can see during pandemics how much mutual funds made during pandemics since inception. All of this information is accessible to you, right? So you can do that and look that stuff up and start your investments, man. $25, $50 a month. Check that away. We blow that stuff on Starbucks. So we can start doing that. And yeah, that's pretty much it on the investment. I start getting passionate about it.
But that actually is smart. I think if everyone in the room, if you just take a look at how much you spend a month just on tea or coffee, really add that up. You're definitely spending over $25. And then mix that in with fast food. Those of you that eat fast food, you're spending well over $100 a month. So let's just say that you can cut that out and you invest that into a mutual fund and that matures. You're making a lot more money. There's something that you touched on, 401ks. A lot of people, they live off of 401ks. That's their expectation, because most companies nowadays aren't giving out pensions anymore.
Yep.
And even if they are, there's no guarantee that you'll either live long enough to have a pension or that your pension will still be there.
Yep.
So again, I've been on your page for quite a while. I've seen that you've always posted this, that there's a bit of an argument between the IRAs versus the 401k. Can you first off explain the difference between the two?
Got it. So with a 401k plan, it's through a company, right? Through a corporation. Typically, they'll match you, right? And then you can invest up to 16.5. They give you an extra $1,000. You get 16.5 a year. You can put away into that. Outside of that, that's pretty much it. 16.5 you can put away a year. It's through your corporation. Sometimes they'll match you up to whatever percentage that the company wants to match you with. With things that you need to understand though, ask your company, is it aggressive, moderate, or conservative? Being that we're all millennials for the most part, that I see everybody I've seen here, we need to be as aggressive as possible because that's the only way we're going to build wealth compound, have that compounding effect. The safer we play, that means our money isn't making a lot on the interest side of things, right? So with your 401ks are great. If your companies are offering them to you, take it 100%. You always look at anything that your companies offer you as a extra. It's not your priority. It's not your primary. It's your extra. If they give it to you, take it 100%. You invest into that thing. You want to max it out if you could, do your thing. Now your IRAs work a little different, okay? Your IRAs are individual retirement accounts or retirement agreements, if you want to really be technical for the security purposes, right? So independent retirement accounts. So now you can put away $6,500 a month into an IRA. The difference with that is you don't have to work for a company to do that. You can put away 25, 50 bucks a month, 100 bucks a month, $200 a month into your IRAs. The reason why we recommend Roth IRAs, especially to our friends and our clients in our communities, is because the money that grows into your Roth IRA grows completely tax-free because your money has already been taxed through your state, local municipalities, governments, and things like that. You've already been taxed on this money from your employer and everything. They took all their benefits. So now you can put your money into this investment account and watch it grow tax-free. As long as both of these work this way as well. You cannot touch neither one, 401k or your IRA, before 59 and a half. Okay, you just can't touch it. Because this obviously is for your retirement. But again, if our people, we most of the time we don't understand this stuff because the guy at the job, he comes around once a year and he educates us on this stuff. We really don't understand the jargon, right? So you don't want to touch that before 59 and a half unless it's for a first-time home purchase. You go use your 401k for a first-time home purchase without any tax penalties. Speaking of tax penalties, is a 10% withdrawal penalty, 20% federal tax penalty if you take it before 59 and a half. Same thing with the IRA. So you don't want to touch them before that. However, you can touch them for first-time home purchase, college, higher education, right? And unfortunately, death. So your beneficiaries can have that without any tax implications on that. Now the IRAs, again, $6,500 a year, 401k, 16.5. The reason why we recommend the IRA though is because of the options. The options you have with investing into an IRA is bar none compared to the option you have with a 401k. The 401k options are very limited in most cases. The IRA options, you have a plethora of IRA options to invest in, right? You have a plethora of different funds to invest into. You have different options all around, right? You got bond funds, you got mutual funds, you got so many different things to invest in with an IRA. So we always recommend that over the 401k as a primary. And then what happens is the average mutual fund performed at 12%. And hopefully you guys remember this. There's a rule that not every school teaches called the rule of 72. It's a banking principle. So what it says is you divide your interest rate by the number of 72, and you can kind of approximately understand how long it's going to take for your money to double. So if your 401k is getting 3% a year, and it has been getting 3%, 4% a year since inception, we're going to have a problem, okay? Because remember, 3% goes into 12 how many times? So if 3% goes into 12 every 24 years, we're going to have a problem, right? And this is why you see people's money, it grows so slow because, again, such a low interest rate. And if our 401k is doing that, we're going to have a problem. IRAs, average mutual fund that we issue over here, 9, 12, some mutual funds even 15, 20% since inception, which means your money's doubling every 3-6 years versus every 24 to 48. And that's why I recommend IRAs, particularly the Roth IRA. There's two, Roth and traditional, before 401ks on that. JB.
Oh. Now, quick question. Does anyone need a second to write things down?
Yeah, I do talk. You know,
a lot of information.
I'm from New Jersey. You know, we talk kind of fast sometimes. I'm trying to slow myself down here.
Is everybody good? Everybody good?
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Now, we talked about a lot of the benefits that we have at work. One of the major ones that we get from our jobs is life insurance. Now, that actually tends to lull us into a false sense of security, because if you lose that job, you have no way of providing for your family. So I know that with you, life insurance is a big thing. There's a difference between whole life and term life that most people don't understand. And there are certain companies that advertise certain types of life insurance, such as the Gerber Grow-Up Plan, especially to minority communities. So is it possible that you can break down the different types of life insurances and what they can do to help or hurt you?
Absolutely. Man, yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. So the life insurance industry, man, is very, very, it's highway robbery in most cases. And it's almost legal. It's almost disgusting what whole life insurance companies are able to do to people like us in minority communities and things like that. So the only purpose for life insurance, I want you guys to understand this, because most of our people don't. We think it's burial insurance, right? We think like we need life insurance to be put in the dirt. They couldn't be further from the truth, right? That can't be further from the truth. The only purpose for life insurance is to replace your lifestyle in the event something happens to you untimely. So if you're making 100 grand a year and your spouse is making 50 grand a year, God forbid something happens to you, you guys were living a $150,000 lifestyle, but now you left your spouse with 50 grand, right? Because you're gone. If you pass away, your income passes away with you. So we recommend income replacement. So now with that being said, you need 10 to 12 times your annual income to ensure your wife or your husband's lifestyle remains the same. Well, whole life insurance companies, they don't talk about that because they understand that they're looking at our communities like, as long as I can get a check from them, that's all I care about. As long as I can get a premium from them, that's all that matters. And in that scenario, they talk about burial insurance. So, for example, for the average 30-year-old for a whole life insurance policy, it will cost you $100 a month for $100,000. So now if you're making $100,000 a year and you only have $100,000 coverage and you're paying $100 a month, how much would $1 million in coverage cost you? It will be 10 times that premium. So they don't talk about it. So it'll be $1,000 a month. Most people can't do $1,000 a month financially. So they don't even bring that up. They talk about just, in case anything happens, let's take care of your burial. Tackle on some accidental death, right? So whole life insurance, the four, what we call it the four disadvantages. Number one is very astronomically inexpensive. Astronomically expensive. For $100,000 of whole life insurance, you're gonna pay $100 a month, okay? Is on average. Number two, the other issue with whole life is that you have a component in there called cash value, okay? So now you're paying for this thing that they say is gonna grow, right? This money is gonna grow in here. It's gonna grow and you'll be able to use it for emergencies, all of these things like that, right? Okay, so we're gonna be able to use these things like that, and the cash value is gonna grow. And what happens is it grows typically at 0 to 3%. Okay, so you have a better return putting your money under the mattress. Okay, so because this cash value grows so slow, the first few years pays the agents commissions and the companies everything. Okay, the expenses for the company. Number three, if you needed that set cash value, guys, what happens with the set cash value here is that you will have to borrow it. Okay, so now let me get this straight. You're paying $100 a month, and they sold you on this being an emergency fund or a college plan or whatever it is. But if you needed this money, you would have to borrow that money. That's a problem, right? That's like going to the supermarket. You paid for the orange juice and the milk. They said, which one do you want? Right? So it's like you can never get both of these things at the same time. With whole life, you only get the insurance if you die. The company keeps the cash value, right? And if you ever needed all of the cash value that was in this policy, it lapses the policy, right? So you have an issue there, right? So you have an issue with that policy. Now with term insurance, okay, it's a little different. Term insurance, this is why we call it, what we do is we recommend buy term investment, okay? You get term insurance. So now for that same $100,000 of coverage, it'll cost you $25 to $30 a month. the money that you saved yourself by not having whole life, the extra 40, 50 bucks, you take that money, you invest it in the mutual fund that we were just talking about. Now, the average mutual fund, you get 9, 10%. Guess what? Because the mutual fund has nothing to do with your life insurance, you don't have to borrow the two. They're completely two separate entities. And number 4 is, God forbid you pass away, you and your family gets both, because the mutual fund, the IRA and the mutual fund, and the life insurance are two completely different entities. So your family gets both versus with whole life, they'll get one or the other. That is the issue with whole life. Whole life is just highway ripoff. And they know that, but they don't make money selling term insurance. They make money on whole life.
Now, the type of insurance that you normally see with the Gerber baby plan, which type of insurance is that?
Whole life. Whole life
whole
insurance.
Life.
Yeah.
And it appears to me as if they tend to market whole life insurance more to urban communities because we can't afford term life, or again, we don't have the information regarding the IRAs or.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, that's huge. Okay, again, I'm going to ask again. Does anyone need us to slow down so that you can get your notes caught up? Everybody all right? Like I said, I know there's a lot of information to take in. All right, the next thing that I want to get into is college debt. That's one thing that a lot of us have. I think that everyone on this phone has some type of student loan debt. Who here has debt over $20,000 right now? Well, no, I'm just made up.
James, give me 1 second, James. Give me 1 second.
Sure. Okay, we got to cut him out for a second. All right, so he's cut off for a second. So far, how's everybody liking the show? Good. All right. Has anyone learned anything so far? You guys can unmute yourself. You're all right.
Yeah, I personally am going to check out this Investopedia.
Okay.
You can dig into that, see what all good gems are in there.
Okay.
I'm an educator, so I love my brown boys. I'm trying to build 22 years until retirement. So this is good.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Marquise, you all right?
Yeah, I'm back.
Ready to jump back in?
I was meeting my son. He's bringing me some coffee. Sorry about that.
All right. Let's get into college plans. A lot of us, we go to college and our parents don't have the money to pay for college, and some of us also don't have the money we don't have the grades for scholarships. Like I know me personally, I was in a weird donut hole. My parents made too much money for me to qualify for most types of financial aid, for actually all types of financial aid, but they didn't have the capital to pay for me to go to college outright. So in a situation like that, what do you suggest in terms of planning for the future? Let's just say if I have children or anyone else on this phone has children, in terms of them paying for college.
Awesome, man. These are some great questions. So hopefully you guys, when we're done, you can research this stuff. 529 plans. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have heard of them. Okay, 529 plans are UGMAs. Now the 529 plan works a little bit like the mutual funds that we're talking about. It's an investment for college, specifically solely only for college. Anybody can invest into them. It could be you as a parent, the grandparent, a spouse, a stepdad. Anybody can invest into it. Has no maximums. So you can put $50 a month into it, $500,000 a month into it if you made that much money. 500,000 really doesn't matter. You can put, it has no maximum. So that's what I would invest into for our college, the 529 plan. Works similar to mutual funds as well. So if once you guys understand mutual funds, you'll be able to understand the 529. You can't use it for now. If the kid doesn't go to college, they'll be taxed at the marginal tax rate. So let me throw that out there. So that's where you have other things like Coverdell. Now Coverdell is another educational plan. It can be used for any schooling. It doesn't have to be specifically college. It can be higher education or private schooling, things of that nature. The difference between the two are that the 529 has no maximum. The Coverdell does. So the Coverdell has a maximum of $2,000 a month that you can put into it, and it only can be a designated beneficiary. So those are the two differences between those two that I would recommend.
So maybe a suggestion would be if you, let's just say if you're having a child and you're having a baby shower, maybe to set up that 529 plan, and then in lieu of dropping off diapers or toys, maybe drop some money into that 529 plan, or have your friends, family drop money into that 529 plan.
Absolutely, man.
You can have that kid's college paid for by the time that they're ready for school.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of us. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So, and piggyback into that. So, with a lot of times we have the right intentions, and we just don't have the right resources. So that's where the Gerber Grow Plan that you're talking about, that's where that came into play. So the Gerber Grow Plan, they sell it, which is another thing that just makes me, it doesn't sit well with me. They sell it as a college plan, right? The Gerber Grow Up Plan, right? When little Jimmy turns 18, he'll get double the coverage amount, right? But this is the challenge. You cannot die and go to college at the same time. It's a life insurance game plan. One of the two has to happen. And if we don't read those things, we don't have anybody to educate us on it, we'll think we're doing the right thing, and then we'll be let down when the time comes for little Jimmy to go to college. That's why you invest into 529s and cover those. Those are actual investments, okay? With life insurance policies, they don't have account numbers because it's not an investment. They have policy numbers. Gerber Grow Plan has a policy number. It doesn't have an account number because it's not an investment. You'll never make money in a life insurance game plan, okay? When they'll sell it to you as a tax-free game plan, the only reason that it's a tax-free game plan is because the cash value, quote unquote, takes a loss from the beginning. So anything that you don't make money on, you don't pay taxes on. Mm-hmm. That's why they sell it that way, okay? So now, for example, with the Roth IRA, you already pay taxes on that. Mm-hmm. That's why that grows tax-free, okay? With the traditional IRA, you will pay tax later. It's tax deferred, okay?
Now, I'm sorry, with that Roth IRA, can you write that off when you do your taxes every year?
Mm-hmm. You write that off, yep. Okay. Every year you get to write it off. Okay. Tax deductible from your, you gotta talk to your tax preparer with that, but you write it off 100%.
Okay, all right. See, I really want to get into college plans because a lot of us leave college in debt, as I said earlier. So we leave college in debt, and a lot of us also leave college with terrible credit scores. That's something that's really not talked about in our communities. Yeah. A lot of us grew up with our parents, with us barely making it, with them having terrible credit scores. I see friends of mine, some of whom I know make almost $200,000 a year, and they're paying $1,000 a month for a car note because their credit score is 400. So do you have any tips on how to properly deal with your credit?
Absolutely. The first tip you got to recognize, is, like you said earlier, is not being in denial. A lot of times, a lot of our people, man, we're in denial when it comes to finance. And I love what you're doing, man. I got to commend you for this, because we got to have this conversation more, right? Yeah. But getting back to it, a lot of us are in denial. Like, we don't want to accept the fact where we are. The minute that, like Martin Luther King said, you can't change what you're not willing to acknowledge, right? The minute you acknowledge, like, okay, I'm in debt, I need to do something about this, then you could take action on it, right? So first recognize where you are. And then you start getting into the technical side of things. Like, okay, how are my debts? Are they fixed or revolving, right? For example, like your student loan debts, for the most cases, they're fixed. Okay, they don't do anything. Your revolving debt is what's killing you. The one that the interest rate comes in different every month, right? Typically your car notes and stuff like that, and miscellaneous credit debt, stuff like that. Those are revolving debts. If you don't know the difference between the two, that's what's really going to kill you, okay? That's why most people never get out of debt, because they can't recognize the interest rates. So the interest rates, for example, you just said a friend bought a car, $1,000 a month. That's really not even what's killing him. It's the interest rate he's getting on top of paying that $1,000 a month, right? That he rarely touches the principal in the first 5 to 10 years. If you got a $400 credit, 400 credit score. So now you're paying $1,000 a month. That's one problem. But now you're paying $1,000 a month, and you're not even paying the principal. You're just giving the company free money. You're giving the person that gave you the car free money. So the first thing I would recommend is fixing that. So you fix that by get yourself a secure credit card. Go get gas daily on it, pay it back. Little small purchases, nothing crazy. Somewhere you can go to Walmart, pay it back. Things like your daily essentials. That's how you build your credit with that. You're just getting a habit of using that and paying it back. Use it, pay it back. Use it, pay it back. That balloons your credit score. Shy away from payday loans and all that type of crap. You don't need any of that. What else will help you? When if your student loans aren't in deferment, then pay them on time, right? If you can, right? And just making timely payments, man. Putting the things off that we can do without, right? We cannot walk around with jacked up credit scores. We can't afford it. It costs our family, it costs all of us, our legacy, too much money, right? So we got to fix our credit scores, especially while we're young. And if we're a little bit older, more mature, that doesn't matter either. We can fix them tomorrow. You can fix that. You just jump on it. Like, all right, I'm going to do it today. So what you do, you just secure a credit card, first thing, right? Then you look at your debts that you're dealing with. You look at the one with the highest interest rate. You look at the ones that are revolving, and put together a game plan and knock those things out. Okay, that's what I recommend for all the people that we sit down with. We put together an analysis. We do that for free, right? I do that free. We put together a complete financial package show you exactly what you need to do with your finances. It's like a financial GPS, we call it, right? It's like, all right, this is where you are. This is where you need to go based on the income that you're making right now, right? So you need to get out of this debt because I know you want to buy this house, but this debt is killing you. And you're about to tack on another one. Let's knock out of that debt first. So that's pretty much my take on that, how to get rid of that stuff.
Okay. All right. Now, one thing that to kind of stay on the college thing, a lot of people, especially on social media now, they're starting their own businesses. I'm pretty sure that we've seen the Black-owned New Jersey or the Black-owned businesses on social media. Now, with that, there's people that are getting LLCs or incorporated. Is there any advice that you can give to people that are starting their own business? Because you actually do have a few business owners on you. So what advice would you give them on opening up LLCs versus going incorporated or any other forms of setting up your business?
Got it. So LLCs are awesome, man. So like if you plan on going public with your business, so this is for more of the guy that wants to take their business from the ground and they want to actually go public with it. They want to get private investors and things involved. You definitely want to go with the LLC. You'll have more partners able to invest into you and things like that without any tax liabilities. So LLCs are the way to go. One I particularly like are S corps. Okay, S corps are good as well. That's for, like, again, tax liabilities. The wealthy, the rich stay rich, and the poor stay poor because of lack of information. But the difference between the two is that the S corps, they have more of a tax benefit than the LLCs. Okay, however, they never go public. Okay, they never go public. They have a smaller ratio of people that can invest into it, but they have a broader range of people that support them. Okay, so it's like your nonprofits, they typically go S corp and things like that. LLCs, you're going to pay a lot more taxes, but you have more liability for visibility, right? You have more options for visibility with the LLC than you do with the S corp. Me, preferably, I like the S corp for its own tax purposes, but in those situations, it's a case-by-case basis based on the company, right? So it's like based on the company that you want to build. So let's say you want to build a company that's going to compete with Apple, that you're like, it's a tech company that you're about to rock and roll with. You're going to LLC that thing all day because you need that capital, right? You need those investors. You need that visibility. You need that. So you're going to go LLC. S corp, if you need other benefits like tax purposes and you're trying to fly under the radar, and you'll go S corp with that. And those are the ones I recommend. I know you have, I think, incorporated.
Yes.
And incorporated is similar. Like we need those as well. Incorporated, LLCs. Incorporated falls right between that fine line between the two. So again, it's a case-by-case basis, but you can't go wrong with either based on the cases. Okay, they're all similar. The real difference between all three, to sum it up without like confusing people, is just the tax benefits and visibility, right? So if you got an INC, you can put certain things under the INC, right? The incorporated. You can put certain things under your LLC, right? You can put certain instead of and then people can't sue you and things like that, right? So like same thing with a trust and all that stuff. So if you put things under your LLC or things under your S corp, people can't come after you. They can't sue you because it's owned by the S corp. It's owned by the incorporated organization or the LLC. So that's the benefits of owning those things. It's just you avoid certain things and different things. So again, Investopedia, go into this stuff, and you'll get pages of information of the different things for all of these things, for resources on those.
Now, so if there's people that have questions about this and they say, you know what, I can't figure this out, and they need to get in contact with you or someone like you, because I know that you actually have quite a few employees that work for you or work with you. How can they reach you?
Oh yeah, so we got Senior Vice President Mark on Instagram. You can follow me there. You can follow me on Facebook, obviously Mark Simmons. Vice President 101 Instagram. Okay. I know everybody's on the TikTok. I'm trying to get. I feel old, right? But I need to get on the TikTok, right? So, but those are the three main places you can find me on social media. Reach out. Feel free. DM me any questions. I love this stuff. I do it completely for free. The company pays me, so I'm fine, right? So my partners pay me, but I love doing analysis for people for free, man, and just seeing what they need to do, you know? So you guys can DM me, inbox me, whatever you feel, like never shy away. We're just going to get this information out here and help everybody build wealth, right?
Well, one of the questions that we got from Whitley is, can you drop those social handles in the chat?
Yeah. How do I do that? I do it in
using the iPad, right?
Yep.
Okay, you go to the three dots up top, more.
Okay,
and,
got it.
Chat.
Okay, chat, got it. Okay, got you.
And you can drop it in there.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, you actually covered a lot of stuff tonight. And you covered it quickly. I know that there's going to be a million questions here. I already know. So the process that we're going to use is similar to the one that we used last week. For those that weren't on last week's show, the process that we use is you can either send a question through the chat, or you can use the option to raise your hand. Is there anyone here that doesn't know how to raise their hand through the chat or through Zoom? Everybody's pretty good with it. And if none of that works, then you can just bust in and turn your camera on, and we'll get to your questions. So, Marquise, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. Who has the first question?
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead. Joe?
Marquise, man, I really appreciate the knowledge that you dropped on this, in 45 minutes, 50 minutes. That was really good. Really good, really good. I just had one question concerning the traditional IRA and the Roth IRA. What's the main difference between the two?
Got it. Traditional is tax deferred, Joe. Roth is tax free. The main difference, right? So, like in layman's terms, you'll pay taxes when you start taking your money at 59. With the Roth, you don't pay taxes when you start taking your money at 59. That's the difference. The reason why that's even available is because some people have a Roth 401k that you cannot transfer the Roth 401k to a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA. So you got to move it to a traditional IRA, right, without tax implications. So that's the main difference in taxes. You pay taxes on the traditional.
Joe, you good?
Yep.
Okay, Derek had his hand up.
Yeah, I just want to say, Marquise, thank you so much for being here and just dropping all these gems on us, because I'm learning a lot, especially about Investopedia. Never even heard of it, swear to God. And I'm a country kid from North Carolina, and so like my upbringing when it came to finances was pretty rocky. I mean, I was with a single mother. She always told me, don't ever get a credit card. They're the worst things for you. And I believed that as a kid. I was like, okay, I never got a credit card till I'm 21. I finally got one. But like you said, free money, I thought it was free money. So I destroyed my credit. I made a lot of piss poor decisions. I mean, I've come a long way, a very long way. But I really just want to say thank you for like dropping all these gems. I'm definitely going to be hitting you up because I have a lot of questions later just about how to get to a better space and how to prepare for my retirement.
Oh man, definitely, man. Anytime, hit me up. Like, guys, I'm all yours, man. We need to do more of these. Get this information out in the community, man. So,
absolutely.
Man, I'm here for you, man.
Good,
well, I'm definitely going to be sharing this interview on social media. I actually just set up my YouTube channel, so this information is going to be available on YouTube. And for anyone that's on this show, anyone with the guests, please feel free to share it to your page. This information doesn't get out if we don't spread it. If we only have the information for ourselves and keep it to ourselves, we don't grow with the community. We don't. That's one of the things that hurts us as a community now, is some of us get information and we keep it to ourselves. We move out and leave everyone else behind.
Right.
That eventually catches back up to us.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So with this information, I really appreciate what Marquise does because he's spreading this information. Marquise knows what it's like to live in a poorer neighborhood. The area that he lived in was literally around the corner from him. So I remember being over there hearing the gunshots. You see the poverty. You see the people that are struggling. I understand that life. Marquise made a decision to get out of it, and I couldn't applaud you more. Marquise and I were speaking earlier. I was his squad leader with ROTC. So,
and I was a knucklehead, man. So I was a knucklehead. It's so it wasn't like I tell people all the time. Like it's just at some point you have a paradigm shift in your life, and you're like, you know what? I'm not liking this person I am right now. And I need to do something about that, right? And then you start making a decision from there. And I was meeting with other guys from Irving High School as well. One thing I would never, ever would ever do is leave and never reach back, like give back, like come on, let's win together. And went back to Irving High School, brought on board a lot of guys, training them to get life insurance and investment license. So now they can do this for themselves, right? Because they're licensed to do that. So they can make their own money, being their own clients, like helping yourself. Because again, the information is there. We just need to be seek it out, And now doing this, man, JB, you're the man, bro. Because you're the one that you're setting up the platform, for everybody to get better, learn, and I'll be chiming into other things as well, man. I heard like the mental health cases and stuff.
Yeah, mental health was the last episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all of these things we need to talk about, like consistently: finance, mental health, marriage. I know Joe. I follow Joe on Facebook, so I see a lot of his things. I don't say much, but I see his things. And it was his birthday, so happy belated birthday. So like, I see a lot of stuff, right? So, and I think some people have some questions as well.
Yeah, I just saw one. This is from Joanne. What would you tell someone who says, my parents are poor, I was poor, and I'll probably die poor? What advice would you give them?
Got it. Okay, so my parents are poor, I was poor, and I will probably die poor. What advice? Okay, got it. Listen, I like my advice to them. First, I got to find out what their goals are. I understand where you're coming from. Like, our parents come from like troubled scenarios, upbringings, and things like that, but that doesn't mean that we have to take that same route, right? If there was an opportunity for you to change, would you want to pursue that? If it was a legit opportunity for you to change, would you want to pursue that? And what do you feel like is going to keep you poor, right? What do you feel like is going to keep you in this exact same situation that your parents are in, right? It's all about asking those questions. I gotta penetrate and get to the core objection. Like, why do you feel that way? I get it, but that's a surface statement, right? My parents are poor, I was poor, and I'll probably die poor. That's a surface statement, right? My question to that is, do you want to die poor, right? Like, do you really, if you had an option to die building generational wealth or die poor, what would you rather take? Obviously, die in a better scenario. Now, what do you feel like is holding you back from that scenario, right? It's that question like that, because I got to figure out what the real issue is first, because statements like that is coming from, is deeper than that, right? And I got to find out what the real issue is. Like, we all have genius level talent that we just got to bring out. And hopefully that answers your question. I didn't want to go off on a tangent preaching. And
Well,
see, I'm sorry. I think we just got another one in there. What's the strategy to help someone who has bad credit?
We skipped one. We'll get to that one in 1 second. We missed out Whitley's question. Sorry about that, Whitley. It was what is your opinion or experience with cryptocurrency?
Gotcha. My experience with cryptocurrency is I have none. I've read up on it. I look at it. I haven't myself. I haven't invested into it. I'm waiting for it to develop somewhat of a track record. I like taking risks, guys, but I take calculated risk. Something that has more of a track record behind it. Something that's been around for some time. However, I do see its growing popularity, but I'm still waiting for it to get some traction and things like that. And before I invest my dollars into it, because with cryptocurrency, I always look at investments in general as a gamble, right? So the same thing with stock. My serious dollars are going to go where I know something has a track record, because I need this money to make money for me, right? Like, I need to know that there's a strong chance this money is going to make money. With cryptocurrency, you get hit big and lose big, right? And with your serious dollars, you can't afford that. So now when you get into a position where you have some play money, yeah, 100%. You can go try it out. Maybe it could work for you. Same thing with stocks. You can invest in stocks and flip stocks and do all of that. Same thing with cryptocurrency though. So, but first and foremost, take care of your serious dollars, right? Money that you need to save me now so I can save you later, then invest in cryptocurrency. So hopefully that answered your question. I'm gonna look into some more cryptocurrency stuff as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Anytime, Brittany.
We have another question from Tracy. What's the strategy to help someone who has bad credit, has a lot of debt, and wants to invest? Should they work on keeping money first or letting it go to pay down debt and invest also?
Got it. So if they have bad credit, okay, the first thing they're gonna have to do is they're going to have to pay off the debt that they have. So they're gonna have to start, knocking that stuff out. They say they have a lot of debt and they want to invest. Okay, so they're gonna have to do. This is good. So they want to do both. So they want to pay off the debt and they want to invest. And the good thing is you can do both simultaneously. But what you have to do is you have to do a budget worksheet, right? You got to understand where your money's going. A lot of times when we're in any such scenarios, we have debt, we want to invest, we want to do all these other things. A lot of times it's out of sight, out of mind. So we got to first have a sit down and look at where's our money going. If we're bringing in $3,000 or $4,000 a month, okay, what is this? What are essentials, right? What rent, mortgages, car notes, what are these, okay? And what do I have left over to take care of debts and all of that after I'm taking care of the essentials, right? And then we can knock out the debts while investing at the same time. So you can do those things simultaneously. However, you got to figure out where's the money going first, right? So you got to do a broker, Like you gotta do a budget worksheet and break down where's your money going, and then start figuring out, okay, how I'm gonna pay off my debt and do my investments at the same time. And that's something that like if you DM me, I can do one of those for you for free as well. So that's no problem. So you can see what's going on with your money. It's some great questions.
Yeah. Are there any other questions?
Great question.
Comments? Concerns?
I've got another one.
Sure.
Marquise, you mentioned earlier about the investments being aggressive, moderate, or conservative. What ways or how can we find out from our employers which one they are?
Got it. Go to HR, right? Well, first you have a quarterly statement. You get a quarterly statement every quarter. You can find it on that statement, right? Like it'll say aggressive growth fund or moderate bond fund. It'll be on the statement. But if you don't see it on the statement, you just go to HR and be like, hey, listen, how's my 401k? How is it invested? Is it aggressive, moderate, or is it conservative? And they can pull it up for you, or they can just give you the email so you can pull it up and look at it too. So always go. My recommendation is to go aggressive, especially being that we're young, because you need that money to make money. You're not spending it tomorrow, right? We're not retiring tomorrow. That's why we need it aggressive now. The people that don't need their investments to be aggressive are the more mature approaching retirement, right? 55, 60, you can't afford the stock market to shoot up and then shoot back down, right? You can't afford another 08, right? So because they're retiring in a couple years. So they can't afford to have $500,000 and then go down to 130 overnight, right? So they can't afford that. We can because we don't want to, but we can, okay? So we're like, all right, the stock market went down. In fact, let me put more money in. Not take more money out, let me put more money in. All right? Hopefully that helps you, Joe.
All right. Do we have any other questions? Joe, go ahead. I know you have another one.
Yeah. I was trying to give everybody the chance. You mentioned about LLC and S Corp. Like, I have an LLC myself, but you mentioned some benefits of the S Corp that I was kind of liking. Is there a way, now this may be a dumb question, is there a way to convert from a LLC to an S Corp?
Possibly. It's a little tricky. What I will do is I'm going to get that information for you. I don't want to sit here and tell you some information that's incorrect. So what I'm going to do is we get that information before I say yeah, because there's always a way in business. But before I say yeah, let me get that information and get it back to you.
Cool. Appreciate it, man. All right.
Anytime.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? No one else has any? I'm actually shocked. I am actually shocked.
I have one, actually.
There we go.
Real quick.
Sure.
Is there any like social media accounts, experts in the field, in addition to yourself, that you would recommend just following and doing research on, like some of your go-tos, perhaps?
Let me see. Well, TED Talks, obviously, everybody knows about the TED Talks. Now, TED Talk does a lot of it. Grant Cardone, he hits on it here and there as well, like investing and building wealth and stuff like that. So that's good. Valuetainment on YouTube. It's a good one. Let me see. So we got, that's with, what's the guy's name? Got the guy's name. But it's Valuetainment. His platform is Valuetainment. I'm having a brain fart. But Valuetainment on YouTube is a good one. Grant Cardone, obviously. Eric Thomas, he's doing podcasts now with his team. So they're hitting on finance and marriage and stuff. So they have some good material. So that's all that comes to mind right now.
No females in the field at all? Not yet?
No, not yet. Okay. I do have Pat Debbie. Yes, that's okay. Let me see. Oh my God, I did have this young lady. You know what? I'll get that information to you as well because I'm having a brain fart right now. Maybe it's a cough, but I'm having a brain fart. But I'll get that information to you as well. I definitely have a few young ladies that we follow and share information with. So I'll get that information to you. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Anytime.
All right. Do we have any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I'll say this, man. This has been so good. Marcus, man, you know your stuff, man. That was amazing. So thank you.
Thank you
for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Definitely. Anyone have any other questions, comments? No? All right. Well, this part is actually something that I'm excited for. I'm actually going to be announcing the topics for the next 2 weeks. I've said before to everyone the topics were going to get a little bit heavier. And next week's topics been weighing on me for a couple of days. The title of it is, can everybody turn their cameras on because I want to see everybody's reaction. All right. Okay. Next week's topic is, am I black enough?
Ouch.
Now, there's an issue in our community where certain people say that if we don't speak a certain way, if we don't act a certain way, if we don't dress a certain way, if we don't listen to a certain type of music, we're not black enough. If we're a certain complexion, if we have a certain hair texture, we're not black enough. Our texture, we don't go through the same struggles as others. I came up with the idea from watching, Wayne Brady, the actor / singer / everything. He had an episode of Unsung. He talked about how he lived in an urban neighborhood, but because his family had money, he was seen as different, as not black enough, because he liked show tunes. He liked things that black people typically don't like. So he then moved to the suburbs, and he was the only black kid there. And it's a lonely world because you're just black, but when he was around his own community, he wasn't considered to be black enough. So I think that we as a people need to decide, what does it mean to be black? Is it a certain way that we speak? Is it a certain way that we dress? Is it the music that we listen to? Is it the swagger? There's certain black people that have no rhythm, and it's all right.
Right.
There's certain black people that have no swagger. That's all right. It's all right to be black and listen to music that the rest of us don't normally listen to. Me personally, I'm a dude that was born in Brooklyn and raised in Irvington, and I like the group Queen. And I shouldn't. I should love hip hop, which I do, but I think that we need to break out of these boxes that we're in as black people, because we're stuck there. We think, and it's what keeps us all in a cage. So fortunately, for next week's show, my two guests are actually on right now. Derek Cooper, who you all can see. Derek was actually in last week's mental health episode. And my buddy, Kara Beaufort. Kara, are you on?
Yes.
Kara's
Hi.
on. All right.
Hey, Kara.
Hi, Derek. Hi, everyone.
So Kara's on. They actually have unique perspectives. For anyone that's unaware of Derek's story, please go back and listen to last week's episode. You're going to get an entirely different perspective because Derek's a minority, about 4 or 5 times over. And just with the line of work that he's in, we both work in the safety field. So for one, in the safety field, there's not a lot of people of color. So at times you have to acclimate. So, we may not be considered to be black enough because of the way that we speak, the types of music that we listen to, the way that we dress. Kara is different in a sense because Kara's a woman. Kara's very intelligent. Kara works in the legal field. Kara, I don't know if I'm allowed to say what your former job is.
You can say it. I don't mind.
Okay,
but just say both.
What'd you say?
Just say both.
Okay, well, Kara's a former state prosecutor.
And criminal defense attorney.
I got you.
Look at that.
Yes, sis. Yes.
Look at that.
And she's
Black history. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's something, especially considering that she looks like us, around the same age as us, comes from similar backgrounds to us. So in the neighborhoods that some of us grew up in, that wouldn't be considered to be black enough because we're in this box. So I'm actually going to have Kara and Derek on next week's episode. I'm working on another guest because I also want to get into the colorism aspect of it too, because that is still something that's very prevalent in our neighborhoods. We may see someone that's light-skinned and just assume that they're not black or that their struggle is not the same. So I'm really excited for next week's episode. I've been calling all of my friends all week. I'm pretty sure I probably called a couple of you at 3 a.m. just to talk about it. But I'm really, really excited for that episode. And the week after, which is the week of July, which is Wednesday, July 15th, Kara's going to have her own episode that day. That one's going to be about blacks in the legal system. What do we do if we're wrapped up in that system? What do we do if we have to go to court? What do we do if we're arrested? There's a lot of things that we don't know. And as black people, we tend to be protected by black women. So I couldn't think of a better black woman to give us information on how to protect ourselves than Miss Kara Beaufort. So I really, really hope that you all are going to be on for the next couple of weeks' episodes. As with everything, this show is about you all. It really isn't about me. I'm really trying to help us as a community to move forward. That's really my goal. So if you ever have any ideas, please reach out to me. falltorisepod@gmail.com. I'm pretty sure that most of you have me on Facebook. If you don't, I'm under my name, James Brown. Please continue to reach out. There's a lot of other ideas that I have coming up. There's a lot of other shows that we're working on. We're working on shows about atheism in the Black community. There's one that's going to be very heavy for us. I have an episode on pedophilia in the Black community. That's going to be a rough one to talk about because it's something that we know goes on, but we don't get into it. We all know there's quite a few R. Kellys in our neighborhoods. So we're going to get into that. So I actually have quite a few episodes. If you're not following me on Facebook, please do. The YouTube channel is Fall to Rise Pod. I'm going to start putting actual information on there soon. But the YouTube channel is Fall to Rise Pod. And again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, reach out to me. I've always got my phone on my tablet with me. If you have a new idea for a show, reach out to me. I've had someone reach out to me yesterday, and we're already working on their show. Their show is about daddy issues in the Black community, which will then be turning into another episode, which will be about fatherhood in the Black community, because that's a conversation that we don't have. A lot of us as Black men, we don't feel comfortable talking to each other about it, about our struggles for those that are fathers. And it's a conversation that we need to have. And in certain ways, we need to heal each other. We also need to heal with Black women regarding that, because there's a lot of Black women that are feeling the pain from their fathers because they have those daddy issues. So we're going to get into all of that. It may get a little messy at times. There may be some crying, maybe a few curse words thrown. It's all right. But I really want to start this conversation for every one of these episodes. Every episode, I want to start a conversation. And at the end, I want to find a solution to whatever that conversation is about. So whenever we have these episodes, if they get heated and we have to stay on for a while, okay. As long as we can get an answer and we can start to move forward, we can start to heal, we can start to fix our own communities instead of waiting for others to fix them for us. So again, I appreciate all of you more than you all can imagine. I'm going to be posting this episode online. Switch to my cloud in about 20 or 30 minutes. So feel free to share it. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm always available. Before we go, are there any questions, comments, concerns? I always ask. Oh, one other thing. I'm trying to do an episode on Black Trump supporters. It's not to make fun of them. I genuinely want to know what pushed them in that direction. I don't want to condemn them. I want to genuinely understand what placed them there. Because as Black people, we don't have to vote just one way. We don't have to feel just one way. So if any of you know any Black Trump supporters that are willing to come and speak, please invite them. Please have them reach out to me. The conversation is going to be respectful. That is going to be one of my main goals. It has to be respectful. We have to be able to listen to each other. We have to be willing to understand each other. So if any of you know any Black Trump supporters that are willing to come on board and speak, please reach out to me. All right? All right. Well, thanks a lot. Thank you to Marquise for coming on. I really, really
Pleasure,
appreciate
brother.
it. Hopefully the people on this show learned a few things. And hopefully they'll be reaching out to you if they have any questions.
Sounds good, brother. I love it,
All
man.
right.
Been a pleasure, man.
Thank you. And thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.